Hi, welcome to the South Mountain Laveen Chamber of Commerce podcast, Around the Mountain. My name is Maisha Harris. I'm the Vice President of the Chamber, and I'd like to introduce my co-host, Adam.
Hi, Adam Meixel, residential realtor, and we're interviewing Juan Chavez with Collective Coffee.
Yes, he is new. He has got a new coffee shop in the neighborhood, but he is not new to the neighborhood because
Right.
he has so much going on and so much to offer to the community, for the community. So, Juan, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Well, thanks for allowing me to be here and join y'all on this awesome podcast. I appreciate it. So, I am born and raised in South Phoenix. It used to be known as the Southern Meadows. We were just talking about that outside a little bit, but 39th Avenue in Southern. First 23 years of my life, born and raised there. My heart's in the community. Laveen and South Phoenix have my heart. Those are where my roots are. That's where my family lives now. So born and raised there. In 2019, my family and my wife and I started a nonprofit called AZ Reach. So we had noticed that around 2013 that there was a huge need for these young men that we were mentoring on high school campuses. Found out that the majority of them didn't have father figures at home. So we started to kind of think through how we can address this need and started this group, a support group on campus for young men. Cesar Chavez High School is one of the larger high schools in our community. And, I used to be a high school teacher. I was a teacher there for 7 years. And the high school found out about the support group we were doing. And they said, hey, we got these young men that could use some help. They're kind of on the verge of almost getting kicked off campus. So they gave us their 12. They're not like misbehaved, but they just needed some help, so they gave us 12 boys. Some mentorship. We started meeting with them during school hours, but we found out that 11 of the 12 didn't have a father figure at home. So we started these programs, these support groups. One thing led to another. We started these programs for girls. And next thing you know, we have this full-blown nonprofit 501c3 called AZ Reach. So we've been giving a lot of our time and attention to that program. And that's just blown up, in multiple high schools. It basically is when we see a need that's not being met, we ask ourselves, how can we meet that need?
That's amazing.
Yeah. So one of the more recent ones was these high school students have a hunger and desire to start their own businesses. They want to make money.
They do.
Yeah, they've got the drive, they've got the skills and the talent.
Yeah.
But they often lack the resources and the education on how to do it. So we started a program through AZ Reach called Innovate Young Entrepreneurs. And we walk students through entrepreneur development and financial literacy, trying to get them to understand the language of money, the do's and don'ts, the better choices they can make around finances, and hopefully for some of them try to break the poverty cycle that they found themselves in. And it's been great. It's been rich. What I didn't think would come from that is an actual business that we stepped into, Collective Coffee.
Yes.
So from that teaching and mentorship, is that how Collective Coffee got started, or?
Yeah. So I love coffee. I'm a coffee nerd. I am passionate about it. I love the taste of it. I love making it. I love the process of it. I love to see beans getting roasted and go from green to different colors. And probably around 10 years ago, as I'm driving through South Phoenix, Laveen, I'm like, man, it'd be dope to have a coffee shop out here.
Yes.
Or a roastery or something, around coffee, because coffee brings people to the table.
It sure does.
Yeah, it brings you to the table. It allows you to start conversation. It allows you to connect on a deeper level. And it's just fun and beautiful. So that was a dream of mine. Started making cold brew. And around this time, I was doing some youth work in the community. When these kids would try to go to these camps or these sports trips, they didn't have the finances. So I started selling cold brew to friends and family, and just
to fundraise.
Fundraise. Whatever money we get, we throw in the young people's pockets and get them to where they needed to go. But as AZ Reach began to grow, and as my family began to grow, you know, my wife and I are celebrating 12 years at the end of April.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you. And we got 3 little ones, 5, 7, and 9 years old. So as the family began to grow and these other opportunities in the community began to present themselves, the dream of a coffee shop kind of died. And there was a coffee shop in the community. There was quite a few of them. There was Azúcar down the street from Red Velvet Bakery, delicious coffee. There was Three's Co. Coffee. 27th Ave and Southern. Shout out to Three's Co. We're actually partnering with them and doing a takeover in our coffee shop with them.
Gonna be
Some collaboration, you know.
Yeah.
But then this spot named Hanai popped up, you know, a few years ago, and we would have all of our meetings there because there wasn't much places like that to gather. So we would do quite a lot of gatherings there, and we got word from one week to the next that they were closing their doors. And I had this desire of like, we can't see another coffee shop shut down in the community.
That's right.
You know, there's not a lot of places like that to gather. And we were invited to be able to take over that space. And we're like, man, we've started nonprofits before. There's a lot of similarities with doing it the right way. You know, paperwork you got to submit, getting all that on track, hiring the right people, getting the right team around you.
Yes.
And I had the passion for coffee. I'm like, yo, we could do this.
Yep.
You know, we actually purchased all of their assets in the coffee shop, so we didn't have to start from scratch.
That's
they did
amazing.
a beautiful job, you know, taking it from nothing to putting some good furniture and getting some good bone structure inside of it. So 6 months in, now we're celebrating the grand opening just, you know, a few weeks back of Collective.
That was an amazing grand opening. About how many people were in attendance?
That, man.
The line just was out the door.
Maisha, we thought it stayed out the door. We had 4 hours of a line out the door. People just kept coming. And we knew it was going to be a fun day.
Yes.
And a lot of people were going to show up. We had no idea that Laveen and South Phoenix were going to show up the way they did with that line being out the door. And they weren't walking away.
Yeah.
They were waiting. They were patient. Our staff, we got a young team who are big on customer service. They make delicious coffee. They make delicious food. And they had a smile on their face, you know, the entire 8 hours of serving the community. It was a beautiful day. Y'all showed up.
Yes, we
did. You know,
did.
you guys came deep.
We came deep and we came in force because we support our members. We support our local. We support all of our businesses around because they need to know that, you know, we have places to go to too. We have Erie's. We have coffee. You know. We got a place to go. We got a place for our kids to go. It's comfortable. Kids like to hang out there. Last time I was there to visit, I seen quite a few kids in there studying with their laptops out. Nice and cozy.
Nice and cozy. Good Wi-Fi, good music playing, even for the little ones, even for the kids. We got a little toy section for them, a little cart they could roll around with toys that will entertain them. But we're all about collaboration. That's why the name Collective is very intentional. You know, we can't do this on our own. One of my favorite sayings is actually an old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And we believe in going together, locking arms with others who are like-minded and have a heart for the community. You know, so I proudly can say that we partner with Red Velvet Recipes on some of our baked goods in the coffee shop. We partner with, or we're in the process of partnering with Scooptacular Ice Cream, you know, for some of their ice cream. We got a local honey farm that we partner with, and they bring in their honey. And we're all about collaboration. How can we utilize this space for the good of the community? South Phoenix and Laveen is already a beautiful place. How can we add to that beauty? And how can we continue to see flourishing and growth and beauty, you know, for every generation in our community?
Yeah, and it's about keeping those dollars within our community to keep that circle going and supporting one another.
Right.
And that that's collective, that's family, and multicultural. Community is family. Community is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing seeing people come together like that. And I'm sure that they're gonna keep showing you that love in there.
For sure,
And all the businesses you mentioned are real big in the community. They all are very heavily involved in the community.
Yeah. Red Velvet pulled up with a bunch of cupcakes on our grand opening.
Yep.
You were there with
Yes,
you know,
sir.
representing your company, and a lot of folks showed up. Just love, you know, not even trying to get their name out there, but just
No.
wanting to support, wanting to show love the way it should be. You
Yeah.
know, so I do want to share that we are in the process of starting a pilot program through AZ Reach, the nonprofit that we run.
Okay.
It's an internship. You know, we realize these students need to make money.
Yes.
You know, these freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, they need to make money. You know, not all of them can go out and find a job right away, but these students that have been in our program for a few years that are ready, we're going to intern them to work in the coffee shop, put money in their pocket, and just teach them soft skills. You know, how do you greet someone and make eye contact with someone? Customer service.
Communication is key.
Communication is everything.
Yes.
Good coaching is good communication.
That's right.
Yep. How do you shake a hand well? You know, how do you address someone when they walk in? How do you politely, all that. How do you pick up after someone, and how do you have joy when you're sweeping the floor and beautifying a place? So we're gonna start that program with students from Chavez High School, and if it grows, then we'll expand to hopefully some other schools in the community.
That is awesome. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Maybe you can collaborate with other businesses,
right?
To
do the same.
So you reach us further.
Yeah.
So our
maybe we can
impact could be
share those
greater.
students and share those interns, and they get a little flavor of everything.
Yes, because this idea, it actually started with Threes Co. When Threes Co was in the community, the plan was let's pay these students to intern at local businesses. Well, what local businesses are we connected with at this time? Threes Co was the main one because our meetings were there. And then COVID hit, you know, so we had to adjust. We couldn't run that program right away. But we don't want to limit it to Collective Coffee. We want to expand to local businesses so they can, like you said, you know, get their hands on different things. And maybe coffee ain't their thing, but maybe baking is. Maybe. You know, maybe selling houses and doing real estate or whatever. Maybe flipping burgers is, you know, you won't know until you actually try it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's kind of what the chamber is, to help develop and build our businesses in our community.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
That's what it's all about.
Beautiful work.
Well, thank you. We're not going to leave here, even though all the information is in that button when you hit that. But tell us all of your handles and where we can find you, the address, the phone number.
Got you. Yeah. So we are located at 3648 West Southern Avenue, Unit 150. We're just off 35th Ave and Southern. Our IG, our Instagram is Collective Coffee PHX. Find us right there, Collective Coffee PHX. We're actually we'll be doing some giveaways and, you know, just having fun with folks in the community and wanting to bless and see the community continue to grow. So our hours right now are Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Close on Sundays. But yeah, that's where we're at, 35th Ave and Southern. Beautiful spot right there, Collective Coffee.
All right, well, let's keep this space energized. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Take care,
thanks.
guys. Bye.
Bye.